Okay, thank you guys for coming. We're going to talk about Snohomish County real estate statistics today. And then as you guys have any questions, as they pop up, we'll specifically take time to look at them. Right now, right here, we're looking at the market dynamics slide, and basically what this is this is the median price for the red line is the for sale, the purple is the under contract, and the green is the sold in median price for the last 2 years. All of us really know what's been going on in the market. We've been talking about it for years now. June of 07 was our peak. Since then, we've come down approximately 33%. But what's happened in the last 2 years? Basically, in the last 2 years, you can see that when we compare our solds are down 9.1%, and the for sales are down 13.6%. The under contracts are down 11.4%. In other words, most of the inventory that's for sale is still overpriced by a little over 4%, and that's why it's not selling. So if the average seller made a reduction in their price of 4%, it would then become a sold property. Any questions about this slide? Okay, just going to go on to the next one. This one right here, let's do this.
Does that, on when you do that statistic, is that statistic including, you know, the short sales and foreclosure stuff?
Yep.
Stuff that even the short sales and foreclosure stuff is overvalued by 4%.
If we take all of the sellers, and we're talking about the medians, so what this is this is the middle of all of the sellers.
Yeah.
Yes, by about 4%, the all for sale properties are overpriced. Most likely what it is the short sale and foreclosure inventory is priced at or slightly below market.
Right.
And then the traditional seller is priced probably higher than that, and then the two are evening each other out a little bit.
Okay.
So, but you're just generalizing and saying basically everything on the market's overpriced by 4%.
As a one giant generalization, absolutely. We're going to talk about this more in detail when we break down into the county, but it's very interesting. If you look at the months of supply, we've seen a steady decrease right here in the beginning of the year, and we're going to talk about this on another slide. Steady decrease in the months of supply. That's a good economic indicator for us. And actually right now we're in more, for the month of March, we're looking at more of a neutral style market.
Which is, if I understand that, 6 months is a neutral market.
Yeah, exactly.
We're 5.6 right now.
Exactly. If you're at kind of that, 5.5 to 6.5, you're going to say neutral. Anything above that, you're going to definitely be in a buyer's market. Below that puts you into a seller's market. It's very interesting with all of the foreclosure activity we've been seeing in Snohomish County to see the months of inventory dip under that 6-month mark. We have not seen less than 6 months of inventory in the last 2 years. Maybe 3, yeah. It's been a long time.
So why are they, if the banks are looking at this situation, why aren't they releasing more stuff on the market? Because right now it seems like it would be the intelligent time to release it on the market.
I wish I knew the answer to that million-dollar question.
Okay.
I think there's a lot of things. The robo-signing debacle is coming to a head where they're going to start handing out settlements. Okay, so people have not been foreclosing at a very high level. There's also some of the bigger banks have imposed their own foreclosure moratoriums that can possibly slow things down. And we may have seen, and like Roy mentioned in the buyer panel, I think we just had a phenomenal March and February relative to last year. And we'll talk about that a little bit more in a bit, and that's what helped us suck up inventory. I don't think people expect it to be as good as it was.
Interesting.
So I'm going to scoot on from that.
I was going to ask you a question.
Go ahead.
You don't mind if I ask questions since there's only a couple of us
No,
here?
good. Ask
Okay,
away.
so like this shadow inventory.
Yeah.
In back of my mind, I think it's kind of. Do you think it? I think it's blown out of proportion. Could I be wrong on that? Like on, what you guys are talking about. With the banks. Holding the inventory.
How much do you think they have?
Well, I mean, I talk with commercial bankers. I talk with all these different people.
Yeah.
And a lot of the inventory, they try to get it off the books so the Fed doesn't come in and actually close them down, like
Sure.
Cascade Bank
Yep.
had trouble or whatever, so they're trying to
Cascade got bought by
unload that.
Opius,
Yeah.
North County,
Mhm. So
Frontier.
they're trying to unload them, and with the inventory being half of what it was, why would they be holding all this inventory? So I kind of wonder. do you
Are we
think
talking
it's kind
about
of a joke?
Snohomish County or the United States? Let's talk about
I'm
Snohomish County.
talking about Snohomish
Okay,
County.
okay.
I think, and we'll get to some foreclosure stats here in a bit, I think there is a backlog of shadow inventory here in
Okay.
Snohomish County, and I think it's pretty much the same as it is on national level, and we'll go over some
Okay.
foreclosure statistics specifically,
Mhm.
and I'll show you how you can look and show yourself where that inventory is and who's holding it.
Okay, sounds awesome.
Yeah. Okay, this one's another real interesting report. So once again, this is just like Snohomish County as an overview, broken down by price brackets. Okay, so what's happening in these price brackets right here? It's just the putting it in perspective. You see a lot of inventory that's popping up in the, right here in the middle, okay, that 160 to 200,000, you got 517 active listings. 200 to 250, you got 864 active listings. 250 to 300, 637 active listings. Then we start to break out a little bit bigger. In the 3 to 400, there's 700. The interesting thing is, like, even though in the 2 to 250 there's 684 active listings, 228 of them went pending in the last 30 days. So in that 2 to 250 price range in Snohomish County, that's a big turnover. I mean, that's a lot of that inventory going away very quickly.
Wow.
You can also see where a lot of inventory isn't going away, like for instance in the $1 million plus range, there's currently 79 active listings and 0 have sold in the last 30 days.
Wow, look at that. Between 300 and 400, that's the second highest moving.
Yeah.
Well, no, 160 to 200, but still, that's a huge.
Yeah, 160 to 200 would probably be number 2.
Yeah.
Now, 160 to 200, you're still seeing large turnover right there. And what this most likely is associated with is this is associated with affordability. So from 160 to 250,000 is probably represents the largest percentage of the total buying population in Snohomish County.
160 to 400,000.
Yeah, you could even go all the way to 400, but actually I would actually say 160 to 250 based on pendings in the last 30 days.
Okay.
So in other words, if you're priced well in this category, you have the most likelihood of selling. Okay, we're going to move on to the next slide. It is the Snohomish County Area Market Statistics Report. So basically what we're going to look at here, and then we're going to talk about the inventory. Okay, so for March 2010, we're looking in the top right corner here, we're comparing the number of units that sold between 2011 and 2010. Number of units is only down 3.8%. Year to date, we're down 3.9%. This is a very good indication of stability starting to happen, because what was happening last year at this time?
Tax credit.
The first-time homebuyer tax credit was artificially inflating the market by giving buyers incentives to move in. So if we're doing just 4% worse than last year, that's phenomenal.
Right.
Okay, we have no extra stimulus. Interest rates are really, really good, okay? That may be a factor. And then I think your second factor is most likely the affordability in Snohomish County is reaching a point where it's really starting to entice buyers to come into the market. Looking at the average price for Snohomish County, when you compare March of 2011 to March of 2010, you've seen a 9.9% drop in price. When you compare the year to date, you've seen a 10.4 drop in price. Going over to the median, which is almost exactly similar numbers, March to March is 10.7, and then year to date is also 10.7. Average, once again, being the total of all the properties divided by the number available, and then median being the middle of the road. What is also interesting that we're seeing in March, when we talked about February statistics, is February statistics over the last 14 months, we've averaged a 0.5 point to 0.75 of a percentage drop in depreciation every month. So just nice, consistent dink, dink, dink. In February, though, what happened in February is we actually saw a 2% drop. So February, for some reason, just really took a beating, and we were asking the question, Todd was in that class too, was, well, is this a trend? In other words, have we started to depreciate faster again, or was this just one bad month? And from March's numbers, it looks like it was just one bad month, because March then depreciated about 0.75 relative. Any questions about Snohomish County?